Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us on your Monday. I'm Jeanelle Slade.
And I'm Russ Riesinger. A woman shot in Cody, Wyoming. The suspect now dead, apparently taking his own life.
It all began around 3:30 this afternoon when Cody police were called to the Rodeo West gas station for a report of a woman suffering from a gunshot wound. The 44-year-old victim told authorities her 76-year-old boyfriend shot her during an argument in their camper.
Now, police say the man followed her to the gas station, but then went back to the camper when police arrived on scene. These are some pictures sent to us from a Q2 viewer. Police responded to the camper when they heard what sounded like a single gunshot. A specialized robot was sent in after several attempts to make contact with the suspect and found him dead from what appeared to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Now, the woman was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. No names or further details are being released at this time.
Well, the fallout from the deadly U.S. strikes on Iran's top general is growing politically, militarily, and diplomatically.
Iran is vowing revenge, and President Trump is threatening reprisals if Iran targets Americans anywhere. Natalie Brand is at the White House with the latest.
An estimated million people turned out in Tehran to publicly mourn Iranian General Qasem Soleimani, killed last week in a U.S. drone strike in Iraq.
He should have been taken out a long time ago, and we had a shot at it, and we took him out. And we're a lot safer now because of it.
Iran has vowed to avenge the general's death, and security analysts are concerned that as the mourning period ends, the regime could make good on those threats.
What I'm most concerned about is a missile attack in Iraq against a U.S. diplomatic or military facility.
Iraq's parliament called for the expulsion of American troops, but Defense Secretary Mark Esper says the U.S. has no plans to withdraw.
There's been no decision whatsoever to leave Iraq.
Rumors of a pullout were sparked by a draft of a letter from an American general to his Iraqi counterpart, suggesting preparations were underway. But Joint Chiefs Chair Mark Milley said it was being circulated for input.
It was a mistake, an honest mistake, a draft, unsigned letter, because we are moving forces around and we have increased helicopter movement in Iraq.
Here at home, the battle is political. Vice President Mike Pence, not the president, is expected to lay out the administration's Iran policy in a public speech next Monday. This week, the administration plans to brief Congress about the intelligence that led to Soleimani's killing. Lawmakers are divided.
The president did what he had to do.
He just flies by the seat of his pants, basically.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi plans to hold a vote this week to limit President Trump's use of military force against Iran. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
The administration has said all the president's national security advisors backed that attack on Soleimani, but CBS News has learned that some military commanders were against it because of possible retaliation.
Well, tonight was one of change for the Billings City Council as it welcomed 4 new faces and one familiar to its ranks.
The new council members took their oath of office, got right to the agenda, hearing an update from Project Recode. Q2's Mitch Legge was at the meeting tonight and joins us from the newsroom with more. Mitch?
Well, Russ and Jeanelle, it was a pretty packed city council chamber tonight, full of family and friends wishing the new members well on the start of their term. Then the group got right to work hearing that update on Project Recode. The project is the first time in decades that the rules to build in Billings have been given a facelift. The short-term rental code was discussed tonight. Short-term rentals code, which will establish the rules that apply to Airbnb your house in Billings. Under the current code, Airbnbs are illegal in Billings, even though you can find hundreds for rent online. Under the new rules, to rent your house short-term, you'll have to register with the city and update the registration yearly. Another rule is the house must be occupied by the owner or long-term tenant. This change would hopefully keep more homes on the market and available for people to buy. If left unregulated, the Airbnb homes could stay vacant for extended periods of time.
We want to make sure that this is not going to cause problems in our neighborhoods or overwhelm or overtake our affordable housing stock in our core neighborhoods.
And this isn't the last that the City Council will see of Project Recode. Drafts of the new code will be wrapped up by January, and after a series of hearings are scheduled for adoption in late May. Russ and Jeanelle.
All right, thanks, Mitch. Well, some Billings families say they're now dealing with threats after a group of squatters took over a neighborhood home.
Yeah, from threats to filth filling the streets at home, one of many in Billings facing the same situation. Q2's Zoe Zandora has more.
A home in Billings, 2613 Missouri Avenue, where squatters have moved in, trashing the property. And now the neighbors and community getting involved to try and pick up the pieces.
It was clear that it was unsanitary. The dogs that were in the house were being abused. They were neglected. And it was reaching a very dangerous and critical situation.
The home is located in Ward 4, represented by Councilmember Penny Ronning. Neighbors reached out after noticing garbage buildup and other issues raising concern.
Code enforcement had already been addressing issues on this house, as well as the Billings Police Department, Child Protective Services, Adult Protective Services, had all extended all of the types of services that they could accommodate for this particular property. And
how is the city enforcing cleanup at the home, and what more can the city do to help?
We're looking at obviously, like if there's vehicles that are, if something's blocking the alley, we certainly address that, work with solid waste and police to deal with that, because often then that creates an issue for garbage collection. If there's garbage and junk and stuff out in the yard, front yard or backyard, we can initiate a case to have that cleaned up. That's what we've been trying to focus on. We've been going back and checking on it almost on a daily basis to see what's going on, and we've gotten, continued contact with some of the neighbors as well to letting us know kind of activity and such.
Councilmember Ronning went down to the home with some neighbors, and after being personally threatened, she knew this is an issue that needs to be addressed and turned to the public for help.
What was occurring at the house really escalated, and it became very clear that the neighbors were in danger. I was threatened just by simply coming and observing the house by the squatters that were living in the house, as well as the neighbors were being threatened.
After speaking with Councilmember Ronning, it seems that the biggest roadblock for the city is that state law is preventing them from taking any further action.
State laws, when it comes to squatters, really favor rural communities. And squatting is a real urban issue, and we have that issue in Billings. We have many properties in Billings that are experiencing this exact same type of situation, so we need to get these state laws changed.
In Billings, Zoe Zandora, MTN News.
Well, Councilwoman Ronning posted late this afternoon that the squatters have left the premises and that the outside of that property has been cleaned up.
She says police and code enforcement will continue to monitor the property as the bank moves forward with foreclosure.
Well, there are still no signs of a Hardin girl who's been missing now since New Year's Day, a case the sheriff says looks suspicious. 16-year-old Selena, not afraid, reportedly wandered off from a broken-down van at a rest stop between Hardin and Billings after attending a party here in Billings earlier. Now, hundreds of people have joined in that search so far, which her family tells us now includes South Dakota and Wyoming. Sheriff Pete Bighair says detectives are looking into leads and have re-interviewed witnesses. They're also looking for a green station wagon with Wyoming plates that some people reported seeing at the rest stop.
And we now turn to Rob Griggs for a first look at weather tonight. Rob, it may be January, but we are heating up. How warm is it supposed to get?
We're going to be at least 10 degrees above average for this time of year for a couple more days, and that's all in the bank as far as I'm concerned, because you all know the real January isn't that far away. I had some great pictures. I got to show you this. My friend Chad Floor was changing some roof drains and captured this skyline shot a little earlier of Red Lodge. Boy, that's just a beautiful shot. And check this one out. My friend Cooper Tyson got a brand new camera, promptly went to Zimmerman Park after dark, and if that is not one of the coolest, spookiest pictures I've seen in a long time, I tell you, the kids got game. That one could be on canvas and on the wall. Well, here's another picture I want to show you. Some snow showers out there in western Montana, a few snow showers still in central Montana as well. And the big question is, will any of those snow showers come close to Billings? And what will the temperatures be like over the next couple days? I just happen to have all that information with the forecast in just a little bit. Russ, Jeanelle?
All right, thanks so much, Rob. Well, the candidates for Montana governor have filed their latest fundraising reports, and Democrat Whitney Williams tallied some big numbers today. MTN chief political reporter Mike Dennison has the totals.
Williams said since she entered the race in early October, she has raised $439,000. That's the most money any gubernatorial candidate reported raising for the 3-month period ending in December. Yet Republican Congressman Greg Gianforte, the fundraising leader in the race, had a significant haul during those 3 months as well. His campaign said he raised about $345,000, putting his total fundraising take for the campaign so far at almost $1.4 million. Another Republican in the race, Attorney General Tim Fox, reported Monday that he raised about $106,000 the past 3 months, pushing his campaign total to $565,000. Among those not reporting by late this afternoon were Democratic Lieutenant Governor Mike Cooney and Republican State Senator Al Olszewski of Kalispell. Democrat Casey Schreiner of Great Falls raised only $15,000 last quarter, increasing his total to $85,000. In Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Thanks, Mike. Now, the primary election is in June.
Well, it turns out the winning Montana millionaire ticket was a Christmas gift.
Casey Patero of Columbia Falls says the winning ticket was a gift from her father-in-law. Patero, a training specialist and mother of 4 young children, says she saw the winning number while scrolling through Facebook the day of the drawing. Now, the winning ticket was purchased at Town Pump of Kalispell on U.S. Highway 2 East.
Patero says she plans to pay off the family's home mortgage and put the rest away for her children's future.
Can't seem to get her name. Well, since the Montana Lottery was created in 1986, it has paid more than $622 million in prizes and returned about $269 million back to the state.
Well, still to come on the Q2 10 o'clock news, Montana firefighters for the first time in 10 years answering the call to go to service in Australia.
Plus, from dirty diapers to fancy cars, we'll show you the newest trends in technology.
And in sports, Scott features dunks, circus shots, and a stunning game winner at the buzzer in Q2's latest edition of Game Changers.
You're watching MTN News with Jeanelle Slade and Russ Riesinger, Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire, and sports with Scott Breen. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.